This is an excerpt from my paper, Skeletons of a CTMU Unified Field Theory. This will be published in a book in the next year or so as a collection of papers exploring and defending the CTMU. You can find the paper linked in the description below. We can show that at least 3 classical dictums are demonstrated by Langen's CTMU interpretation of quantum mechanics, called quantum metamechanics, to reflect the fact that it exists as a codomain to provide ontological grounding to the various interpretations of quantum mechanics. 1. George Berkeley's essay Est Percipi, to be is to be perceived. Langen's quantum metamechanics, defined as the meta-interpretive mapping between quantum mechanics and reality, shows that reality is defined according to the perception and cognition of secondary images of the GOD, through which it defines the properties of the reality self-simulation, and thus the set of truthful attributions included within reality, in accordance with the CTMU reality principle, which says that reality contains all and only that which is real, and that reality, therefore, is predicated as a closed descriptive manifold outside of which no real objects exist or relate to reality. Therefore, the self-perception of the GOD defines inclusion in reality. 2. The Old Testament prophet Isaiah's prophecy that he hath established it, he created it not in vain, he formed it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, and there is none else. Isaiah 45:18. This reflects the fact that the universe and quantum fields within it evolve towards the evolution of biological life, and that the laws and structure of the universe reflect this end. Life originated not only biologically, but metaphysically as well, existing as potential before its instantiation, driving forward cosmic evolution according to this drive for self-fulfillment. Life and the universe evolve in coupling with one another, and the driving force behind the self-dual evolution is the unfolding teleology of the GOD, which exists and extends within and beyond the confines of the universe, and whose stature as the ultimate reality and implicit coupling with its secondary images, including human beings, allow us to ascribe certain anthropic principles consistent with the definition of God in Abrahamic monotheism, with his influence and creative power enveloping all of reality. The CTMU also supports the theological model of hological panentheism, or holopantheism, in which the entire universe exists within God, and God's self-perception and sentience are equivalent to the constructive, creative intelligence of the universe. Truly, there is none else. 3. A generalization of cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. René Descartes' famous conclusion of his philosophical doubt in Discourse on the Method, Descartes, 1637. This constructive creative intelligence of whom we are secondary images is not only related to being, but is the ultimate being in terms of which all other beings are defined. Thus, the GOD could alternatively and more secularly be termed the universal mind, putting mind and the universe into mutual contact and serving as a medium for all of our individual minds. Christopher Langen writes, in explaining this relationship, the CTMU shows that reality possesses a complex property akin to self-awareness. That is, just as the mind is real, reality is, in some respects, like a mind. But when we attempt to answer the obvious question, whose mind, the answer turns out to be a mathematical and scientific definition of God. This implies that we all exist in what might be called the mind of God, and that our individual minds are parts of God's mind. The powers of association and analogy, or thoughts, of this universal mind generate the reality we exist within and relate cognition and being in a way reminiscent of Descartes' cogito. The essential insight of the CTMU model of Wheeler's participatory universe is that the existence of the universe owes to the self-perception of the GOD, and this was captured in a poetical interpretation of Berkeley's essay Est Percipi dictum in the form of a limerick composed by English theologian Ronald Knox and responded to by an anonymous author. There was once a man who said, God must think it exceedingly odd if he finds that this tree continues to be when there's no one about in the quad. Dear sir, your astonishment's odd. I am always about in the quad, and that is why the tree will continue to be, since observed by yours faithfully, God. Let the light shine forth in the darkness. May the peace of our Father in heaven be upon you. Like and subscribe. Peace.